and welcome to Razz Reviews. Today, I'll be reviewing Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad is the third installment in the DC cinematic universe. Oh look! An undivisive DC movie that everybody can like and enjoy. Yay! Not really. Suicide Squad follows a group of supervillains that are forced to be on the same team and are sent on a secret mission by the US government. Also, the Joker is in it. So when the trailers came out, everybody went nuts, including me, because it really looked like a lot of fun. It felt like the DC universe would not be afraid to step into the comic book universe and not take itself so seriously. And that was really exciting, so people were really hyped about this and expectations were super high. So now the movie has come out and we find ourselves in our usual post-DC movie drama. DC fans loved it, critics didn't like it, normal people are somewhere in the middle. DC fans, they want to shut down Rotten Tomatoes for some reason. What? Before I tell you my opinion and what I thought of the movie, kindly read the following disclaimer. My general impression of Suicide Squad is that it's a bunch of really cool and interesting characters stuck in a sloppy mess of a movie. Unfortunately, Warner Brothers is yet to be able to hone in on how to tell a story with comic book characters. Most of their concentration seems to be on having characters look cool or really cool action set pieces. But when it comes to story and plot and character development and relationships, they have been failing yet and yet again. The first question anybody asks anybody who's seen Suicide Squad is always, "Did you see the Joker? What did you think of him?" I can't tell you what I thought of the Joker personally because of two reasons. Reason number one is that you should judge for yourself because it's a very interesting take, it's a very different take. It might land well with some people and it might alienate others, so it's really subjective. I personally thought it was interesting and okay, but I can't really put my finger on whether I liked it or not because of reason two, which is that there wasn't enough of him in the movie. Really, to make that decision. Okay, here we go. Top 3 things that I liked about Suicide Squad. Number 3, the first 20 minutes. So the first 20 minutes of Suicide Squad hit the ground running. It set up the characters in a very cool way. It felt very comic booky, very pop arty. It was really nice and it established this cool mood that we're not used to from the DC universe. And I thought it was a fun ride. And I really liked the introduction of the characters and how they told us their backstory. I mean, they had to introduce like 1,000 characters in the first 20 minutes of the movie before the story can actually kickstart. I mean, think about it. You had Harley Quinn, Deadshot, Killer Croc, Captain Boomerang, Katana, Diablo, Slipknot, Amanda Waller, a lot of characters basically. So you needed to let us know kind of who these people are and at the same time establish the setting, where they are, why they are the way they are, and how the Suicide Squad forms. And I felt that every actor had a good handle on who his character is, his quirks, his mannerisms, his personality, and it really worked well in the beginning. And I really liked the film right until the point where the Suicide Squad was formed and about to go on their mission. The number 2 thing that I liked was Diablo. I thought that Deadshot or the Joker or anybody else was gonna be my favorite character, but one of my favorites was Diablo and it was really surprising. But I'm so happy because it's nice to be introduced to a new character that I actually don't know much about, even from the comics. I really liked him and I really enjoyed his performance. I think that Jay Hernandez did a great job at honing this character down and making him so relatable. He was powerful and strong and badass, but at the same time he was tragic and you really felt for him. I also really liked the way he looked. I loved the tattoos. I loved the whole, gangbanger look. However, he had a heart, he had a tortured soul. It was really great. I thought the way he looked contrasted how he feels and who he wanted to be and his backstory, and it all worked together really well. The number 1 thing I liked about the movie was Harley Quinn. Surprise! This is Harley Quinn's movie. We finally have an actual Harley Quinn on film. And it worked. And it was great. Harley's not one of my favorite characters from comics anyway, but she's someone that I always thought was interesting, I've always enjoyed, and I really enjoyed her in this film and she was a definite standout. And they also delved into her backstory a little bit. I wish it was a little better, but they delved into it and it made her even more interesting and made people really relate to her, understand why she is the way she is. So she was beautiful, she was exciting, she was crazy, unpredictable, her fighting style was interesting, her big hammer and her big bat made an appearance and it was so much fun to watch her on the big screen fighting bad guys, hitting things in the face. It was a lot of fun. She was the highlight of the film for me by far. Are you ready? Top 3 things I didn't like about Suicide Squad. Number 3, the villain. What is it with comic book movies, both DC and Marvel, with villains? Again and again, they repeat the same tropes, the same plot points, the same development for a villain that they've had in every comic book movie in the last, 5 or 6, 7 years. The villain is always a character who's mystical, who's from a weird background, be it an alien, be it some sort of supernatural being, and they always have this plan to destroy the world for no reason. And they always have some sort of device where something beams into the sky and it's gonna destroy everything and now everybody has to run to the beam and stop it from beaming. Too many comic book movies do this. First Man of Steel did it, first Avengers and the second Avengers did it, Ninja Turtles did it, Thor 2 did it, and there's always some sort of fodder army that the superheroes or supervillains in this case can run around and smash to bits and we don't care. It's stupid and it needs to stop. If DC wants the success of Marvel films, copy the good things, not the bad things about Marvel. The weakest thing about Marvel movies is their forgettable villains and their crappy ass plots. Completely destroy any high stakes you can have in the movie. Nobody cares. X-Men Apocalypse did it! X-Men Apocalypse did it too!
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four did it! Why do they keep doing this? Alright, I'm calm. DC wasted such a massive potential in this film because they don't know how to still manage to keep the film fun, to keep the film exciting, to keep the action big and huge, and at the same time keep us grounded with these characters and invested in the interactions that they have between each other and between them and the villain. The villain seems like an afterthought. They might as well have fought a biscuit. It doesn't matter. But it should matter, because we should be afraid for the characters, we should be invested in their fights, we should be rooting for them, we should think that the villain is undefeatable, that what he's doing is bad, is difficult. That's how you get invested. Otherwise you lose any interest, which is what happened to many people. And that's one of the biggest reasons why the film didn't work. The number 2 thing I didn't like about this movie was the music choices. Some people might disagree with me, it's a matter of taste, but I felt that the music choices in this film took away from the film rather than give to it. Part of their attempt at making this movie more lighthearted and fun and cool and hip was them inserting a bunch of pop songs into the film. However, too much of a good thing can become a bad thing, and it definitely became a bad thing in this case. It's nice when you have 1 or 2 songs in there that give you a cool, nostalgic feel to the film, but when you do it 20 times, it gets a little too much. It becomes greatest hits instead of an actual film. If the music choice fits the scene and it's really good, it actually won't take you out of the movie, even if it's a song you like. However, here, that music just shows up. An invisible hand in the background goes, "Bap! Rolling Stones." Why? If it fits the scene, then it melds into it and it actually just gives you a certain feeling instead of making you think, oh, it's that song. But this happened to me way too many times in the movie and I thought it completely took away from it. The number 1 thing I didn't like about this movie was the editing and plot progression. So there were massive rumors that this film was reshot and re-edited after Batman vs Superman, and after the first 20 minutes of the film towards the end, it is abundantly clear that that is exactly what happened. Because the film feels schizophrenic between being a cool, badass villain movie and a fun, quirky comic book movie. And it felt like those 2 tones fought with each other the whole time and took away from each other, so you couldn't really enjoy either tone. Some jokes hit, some jokes didn't hit. A lot of times you'd have characters walking around and they'd literally stop, make a joke, and then walk away. So the movie feels like a bunch of chopped up music video interludes / backstories / action sequence / bonding moment that came out of nowhere / hit, kill, jump, explosion. Anytime somebody felt affection for someone or you saw that there was a bond between 2 people, you were like, how do these people give a crap about each other? They just met? That's weird. But the movie was like, no, they like each other. They're friends, they're bonding, believe it! It just went from, I'm a bad guy to, we're family! And it was obvious that it was massive re-editing and chopping up of the film and the plot. That's why the film never felt like a 3-act movie. It felt like a long extended scene. Speaking of editing choices, this is where I felt the Joker character really suffered. What they did was that they had a bunch of really small scenes that were sprinkled throughout the movie. But we never got into the groove with him. He'd come in, he'd start doing his Joker thingy and you'd be like, huh, okay, alright, is this a cool Joker? Is he not? I like him to, cut. My personal opinion is that I wish that the Joker had 1 scene, but it was long. It's literally the difference between me giving you a full glass of water or dropping the same amount into your mouth slowly over the course of 5 hours. That's not gonna quench your thirst, even if it's the same amount. So the editing really did a disservice to the Joker and a disservice to the plot in general, and it did not work for me at all. And I really wanted to like this movie. I thought it was a nice ride. I thought the moments that worked well, worked really well. I thought the characters were good. However, it suffers from too many flaws. It suffers from terrible editing. The plot was weird and unconvincing. The character motivations were all over the place, and the villain was just terrible. I'm sure there are people who would love this movie, who have enjoyed it, and those who did, good for you. You should enjoy the things that you love. However, I was left wanting and I was disappointed by it, so my rating for it is a 5.5. So, have you seen Suicide Squad? How do you feel? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, like, share, and subscribe, and please ask me for anything else that you would like to see me review.